Luke Schenn, 3 years, $2.75 million. This video is brought to you by Sports Interaction. Get into the action with Sports Interaction. SportsInteraction.com/SDPN. 19 plus. Please play responsibly. Luke Schenn, 3 years, $2.75 million per year. Nashville Predators.
Woo!
This is a team that bought out Matt Duchene. You know what? Maybe the reason they bought out Matt Duchene is so they could afford Luke Schenn. Right? Maybe that's what it was. No, it's a lot of money and a lot of term for a guy in his, mid-30s. Nothing wrong with it. But it depends on really sort of what Nashville's trying to go for here. And they have been one of the wilder teams. So we'll focus on the Nashville part.
It's Minnesota.
No, it's not Minnesota.
The wilder teams.
One of the wild. I'm like, no, he's the Nashville Predator. I'm like, I know I heard.
What are you talking about?
Oh my God. Okay. I did not mess up the teams. There's no way.
I was like, do we have to reshoot the video?
Yeah. So here's the deal, guys. We got a player who looked to be on his way out, had a very effective time in Vancouver, kind of reset his game over the last few years, especially with the Tampa Bay Lightning and those cup runs. Did really great with Toronto, was a good physical presence. And Toronto did want to retain him, but I can tell you they didn't want to retain him at 3 years and $2.75 million per year. We'll leave the Toronto part for later. Let's talk about the fit in Nashville. Do you guys have any idea what the Nashville Predators are trying to do right now?
No. So that is you'd think their top priority would be centers on account of they got rid of them all.
Yeah. Johansson and Duchene are both gone.
Johansson and Duchene. And I would like to just say our criticism of those deals at the time were founded and proved to be 100% correct.
Yeah.
They didn't have a number one center. They
had two number twos.
Yeah, maybe had 1 year each where they played like it.
Duchene had a 40-goal year a couple years ago.
43.
Yeah, 43. Ooh, yeah, that's good.
40 and a hat trick. But yeah, they signed two number two centers, hoping one of them would emerge. Neither of them really did. Luke Schenn, the signing makes some sense culturally, just because, well, first of all, the term I think is important to him because of his young family. He's got 2 or 3 kids.
Yeah. And a very young child as well.
Young child, only a few months old. And that was a factor when he came over to Toronto from Vancouver. I think the baby was born within a week.
Yeah.
Of the trade deadline. Yeah.
So, that's all very tough. So 3 years is very good for him. I think we can count on the Preds never going over the cap in that time. So I don't think the dollar value will be an albatross. We are seeing teams sort of at the bottom weaponizing their cap space in strange ways. The Predators are doing it, maybe giving Luke Schenn an overpay, but it doesn't matter to them. The Chicago Blackhawks are giving ludicrous contracts out. Andreas Athanasiou's contract is ludicrous. Corey Perry making $4 million is ludicrous.
Nick Foligno
making $4 million is ludicrous. But they're obviously trying to sign these guys, establish a better culture within the team, protect some of their younger guys, and then ship them off for assets in the future. That's obviously not the case with Luke Schenn, maybe in year 3. But it's an interesting new world where all the worst teams not only get the benefit of the draft, but they also get the benefit of free agency because they have all the money to spend. It's not bad to have a guy who can protect a young team. They lose Mark Borowiecki, who sort of had that role. Cody Glass, Phil Tomasino, all the other guys, they have a ton on Nashville. And Yakov Trenin can throw him too. So I think Luke Schenn just helps all that. But if we're ready to get to the Leafs part,
we're not. Jesse, what do you see here?
Since the Tyson Barrie trade, the Nashville Predators have been freeing up cap space. Then they make the Ryan Johansson trade, then they make the Matt Duchene buyout, and all they've been doing is freeing up cap space. And this is what they choose to spend the cap space on. It's a little curious to me because it's not the 1 year deal. You know, it's not the, hey, we gave Luke Schenn $4 million for 1 year and then it's gone. Who cares? It's 3 years and he's sticking around. And there's been a lot about like, hey, what is Barry Trotz working on? Like, why is he getting rid of these players? Who's he bringing in? And the culture fit that's exactly what he wants. Like he's overpaying for culture, and he gave Luke Schenn term. And it's just curious that this is so important to you that you're willing to use the cap space that you just acquired, which is the most important thing for a general manager right now in the National Hockey League, is acquiring cap space. You know, it's the biggest weapon you can have, and you're choosing to spend it right away on Luke Schenn for 3 years.
So here's what I see here. Okay, here's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at Roman Josi at 9, Ryan McDonough at 6 and 6.7, Tyson Barrie at 4.5, Luke Schenn at 2.75, Dante Fabro at 2.5, and Jeremy Lauzon at 2. That's how the top 6 sort of looks right now for the Nashville Predators. We know Barry Trotz is a defensive-minded guy, but here is what I'm seeing with the Luke Schenn deal. We're looking at it as, what is it going to be in an $83 million cap situation? Well, I want you to look beyond that. I want you to look at, what is this going to look like in an $87 million cap scenario? What's it going to look like in a $92 million cap scenario, or a $90 million cap scenario? Because what I see with Luke Schenn is, if he can maintain his game, they're going to have to use him in the proper situations. You cannot throw Luke Schenn out there against teams' top players all the time. He is there for 12 to 15 minutes a night max. He's there to crush bodies. And
Canucks did it. The Leafs did
I know,
it.
but how did it work for them? Canucks and Leafs, boilerplate for success.
Leafs finally won a round.
That's fair.
Dude, his
where they got outplayed most of the series in that first round.
and they won.
So all I'm going to say is that
D partners last year were Quinn Hughes and Morgan Riley.
the Nashville Predators are retooling. Luke Schenn has a perfect contract for not this year, but next year to be moved, and especially the year after.
Oh, to be moved.
Yeah, that's a guy that eventually you recoup assets for, because
But
I don't think you're competitive next
By
year.
the time you want to trade him, he's 35 years old. Remember,
I think you want to trade him with a year left on his deal. Those guys are the most valuable.
then he's
ones.
36.
That's
No,
2
with a
years
year
from-
left on his deal. So not this coming year, but the year after.
Yeah, then he's 30 because he turned
Yeah, he's
30,
35.
He turned
35.
34 this year. Like his birthday's in November, so then by the time that year left rolls around, he's 36 years old, and he's $2.75 million for your third pairing defenseman.
Yeah, I'm sure that's not going to be something that those teams worry about. I think we got to remember that the percentage on the cap is what people are going to be looking at. And I think that this is an easily movable deal if they want to recoup some assets, or they have a young defensive prospects that is pushing their way up. Listen, is it an overpay in today's terms? Absolutely. But we have to keep every contract today in mind, what it looks like in 24 on July 1st and what it looks like in 2025 on July 1st.
If you're not trying to win this year.
And they're not. I mean, look at who's going to score for them. They got Philip Forsberg and Colton Sissons
It's Barry Trotz.
and Jakob.
He doesn't give a crap about his team scoring.
He doesn't score. You're right.
He's building teams.
Look at the Islanders. You're
Yeah,
right.
he's building teams the way. Well, look at the Predators
For
before
20
the
years.
Islanders.
Yeah.
You know?
David Legg won 57 points, your leading scorer.
Left, they're like, we can we score now? And then no, you can't.
Yeah. Okay. So it's going to be a very interesting one. Luke Schenn for 3 years. I also, guys, I kind of wonder with this Luke Schenn deal. Did the Predators have to go the extra year to get him?
Yes. I think we saw it to a different degree with Reeves. I keep going back to Patrick Marleau and that deal. When Luke Schenn got here, I was like, why does he only make $800,000? And why did he only cost a third round pick? Because everyone's like, oh, he's big. He hits. He can play tough minutes with some big players. He's a great guy. And I'm like, that doesn't add up to $800,000. That adds up to a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
He has everything you want except for offensive ability. I don't understand. And to me, this is the correction.
Right.
He should have been worth a lot more than a third round pick at the deadline.
You know who might be scoring for them?
Who do you got?
Ryan O'Reilly.
Yeah. Is that? Are we close on that?
It's $4.5 million for the next 4 years. Ryan O'Reilly to the Nashville Predators.
Okay.
Oh, well,
he's
then
now
that makes a lot
he's
more
their
sense.
highest paid forward.
Okay. We'll get that in the next video.
What?
I
No,
think that.
Philip Forsberg.
Oh yeah,
Forsberg at
yeah,
Yeah.
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 And also possibly the buyouts of Ryan Johansson and Matt Duchene.
4.5 over 4 years. I bet that comes with some trade protection. But my question with Ryan O'Reilly is, and he's a great leader and that sort of thing. That's a guy, I guess he's won his cup, make your money, that sort of thing. 4.5 is less than I thought he was going to get. I wonder if they spread that over the 4 year term. My concern with Ryan O'Reilly is the foot speed. But on the Nashville Predators, with Barry Trotz and defensive minded, I don't know if that's going to matter.
It's kind of perfect, actually. The fit. Listen, you build teams from the net out. They got a great goalie.
Yep.
Then you go to defense. They added on defense. And then you go up front and you have like a guy who maybe not anymore, but he was a perennial Selke conversation guy.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how many votes he got this year. Probably not many. And he scores a little bit, which is probably a little more than Barry Trotz wants.
Hey, whatever you were scoring, please make it less.
Whoa, Ryan. Whoa, slow her down, Ryan.
I
think like a team built by a guy who is defense first, second, and third. Ryan O'Reilly actually makes a lot of sense.
David Poile got the Nashville Predators to the finals in 2017, and that was great. However, he had no luck with centermen after that. Ryan Johansson deal is $4 million on the cap the next 2 years. Matthias Ekholm this is part of, I'm just reading all the dead cap and retain money. Matthias Ekholm is just $250,000 for the next 3 years. But then there's Matt Duchene, which is 2.5 this year, and then 5.5, and then 6.5 the year after. So 25, 26. That's painful. And here's the other one you forgot about. Kyle Turris. Kyle Turris is making $2 million for 5 more seasons
because he retired.
Is it on the cap?
It is on it's buyout history. It's technically a buyout.
Oh, is it a buyout?
Yeah, technically a buyout according to cap.
Oh, I guess he wouldn't have been old enough for it to be like plus 30.
Yeah.
He's still only 33 years old.
Yeah. That's rough. And so it looks like Barry Trotz is trying to change what was one of the biggest flaws of the Nashville system, which is they always had good defense. They always had a goaltender that could probably win you a Vezina, Rinne, and then Saros, but they never had those centers. They thought they had them with Johansson and Duchene, although a lot of us asked why. I mean, they're not there yet. It's clearly a retool, but
are they trying to win?
I think they're trying to get in.
Yeah.
And get in and be a pain in the ass to play against. Do you really want to play the Nashville Predators, even currently built? Not really.
They're going to be in the conversation. Like for that final playoff spot. I mean, I don't know if it's great to always be in the position they were in last year. Listen, one thing the Preds are doing, and it's obvious a lot of teams are doing, they are banking the hell out of the cap going up.
Yes. No question.
So cap goes up $4 million. All right, that clears out this buyout and this buyout. Cap goes up by another $2 or $3 million. All right, that clears out this buyout. So by the time all those buyouts are done, who knows? Maybe these guys win a cup and a walk.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, you never know.
But they're also doing something that we've encouraged teams to do for years. They're moving on. They're moving on from situations that weren't working.
It never felt, even with Duchene's 43 goal year, and I know people were trying to dunk. I thought that was a bad contract from the start. I thought Johansson bad contract from the start, but you know, when people were excited about Duchene scoring 43, it's like, yeah, but that got you 5 games against the Avalanche.
4.
Oh, were they just swept in that series?
Right, they were swept, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
No
so
goalie.
That got you one Connor Ingram game.
Yeah.
One Connor Ingram game. They lost.
Right, and you bring up the goalie, they have UC Saros. That puts you in competition for any win any night.
Yes.
So
are they a cup contender? That's difficult to envision. Are they a playoff team? Maybe.
Yeah, especially in a weaker Western Conference. So we'll see what else the Nashville Predators do. They're out of control.
He joins the divisional rival of the Blues, too.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.